This is the story of how my dad saved his life. And now, he's fighting every day to save what matters most. His family, his music, and his soul. He's not doing this for fame. He's doing it to prove who he really is. The original punk and roll outlaw, fighting to stay sober, stay strong, and stay standing. This is more than a podcast. This is a war for redemption. This is the story of my dad. Welcome to Louder Than My Demons.
Here we come.
Welcome to Louder Than My Demons. This is episode 2. We're going to talk about strength, but not the kind that flexes. I'm talking about the kind you build the hard way, the kind built in silence, through setbacks, through pain, through hard choices. But before we dive into that subject, I want to speak honestly about a few things. Some of you have asked me about the charges that I mentioned in the first episode that were dropped. And I want to be real with you because this show isn't built on image. I want it to be built on truth. A few months ago when I was arrested on December 28th, I was charged with some gun violations. Those charges dropped. I was never indicted for those because I was legally allowed to own those firearms. The cops weren't sure that night. One of them even told the other person that I was still on parole from a 1989 car accident. I wasn't. I've been off parole since 1994 for that accident. But in the chaos, nobody cared about my side of things. They just started building a story around me, no matter what I said. There was also a long-term restraining order that was filed against me around the same time. That was dropped as well. There's still a temporary one that's imposed by the court until trial, which is why I wear the ankle bracelet. In the last episode, I said that I miss someone deeply. I'd write out messages, text messages, 10, 20 a day, and then I'd delete them. And while that doesn't happen anymore, it sure did. January through May, happened every day. I'd delete them, wouldn't send them, but sometimes I'd open that contact and I would just look at it. Wishing, hoping, I don't know. A couple times I accidentally hit call. I canceled it before it rang, or at least so I thought. Turns out, a few of those calls went through. Cops were called, led to a new charge. So I turned myself in. I spent a night in Medina County Jail. I didn't argue. I pled guilty to a misdemeanor, and I'll be sentenced for that later this year. But let me be clear, that has nothing to do with the trial on August 19th or the events of December 28th. In America, you are not guilty just because you've been indicted or just because you're wearing a fucking ankle bracelet. You defend yourself in America with truth, with evidence, and with witnesses. Not with deflection, not with fear, and not with bitterness. The people who have stood by me, they know that. They know the full story isn't out yet. The prosecutors, they've never asked me or my lawyer a single question. But they will. And on August 19th, I will speak. I will stand in truth. What I didn't lose is my voice. And obviously, I will use it. Not to hide, not to attack, but to keep telling the truth. Even when it's painful, even when it costs me. Let's go talk about strength.
Why do you love the gym?
Because the gym don't lie. The gym doesn't care if I'm heartbroken. The gym didn't abandon me, leave me to fight for my life or play games. It just sits there and waits for me to show up. And when I do, it makes me stronger.
much more to working out than just building muscle. Tell us why you've dedicated yourself to the gym.
I don't go to the gym because I think I'm a badass. I go because if I don't, I might fall apart. This is where I bury my anger. This is where I bleed out my pain. This is where I breathe in silence. I don't live to build abs. I live for survival. Strength isn't just about muscle. It's mind, it's will, it's discipline. It's getting up when you feel numb. It's moving when you just want to disappear. It's doing the hard shit when nobody's watching. You know, that's strength, and that's why I keep showing up. Show up, shut up, and do the work. That's how an outlaw gets sober.
So this ain't a workout. This is a reckoning. This is a war I didn't start, but one I refuse to lose. Let's talk about a different kind of strength. Not the flex kind, not the loud kind. I'm talking about the kind you earn, the kind you build through silence, through heartbreak, through the kind of shit no one ever signs up for. Fear doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers just loud enough for you to hear, just loud enough to stop you. What if you fail? What if she never comes back? What if this is who you are now? Fear told me to shut up, told me to hide. But I didn't. I wrapped my hands and I swung away. I continue to swing away. I'm not swinging at anything. I'm swinging at life. I'm swinging at fear. I'm swinging at all the other things I'm dealing with caused by my alcoholism, caused by my addictions, caused by wasted trust. That's what fear is to me. Fear is, what if I'm the fucking asshole? What if I'm the guy who is never going to get right? That's what fear is. That's what's motivated me this year, is that fear that what if this is how I'm going to be forever? What if this is the best it's going to be? And then about 2 months ago, I realized that that's a bunch of BS. I can do anything I want. I can be anything I want. I was talking to my friend Eric yesterday, who's been an amazing friend and an amazing bandmate and just an amazing person. And we were talking about Sober Josie. And he said, we were watching a video of me playing about a year ago. And then we were watching a video of us playing last Friday night. And he said, the difference in Sober Josie is amazing. He said, the difference in Sober Josie is out of control. And I said, Sober Josie's kind of productive, huh? And he started laughing. He's like, I can't believe what you're doing and what we're doing because of it. He said, we were wasting time. Basically, he said, we were wasting time before. And you just realize when you get past that fear of what's going to happen to me, am I going to be that same person? Is she never going to come back? Who fucking cares now? Who cares? All the stuff I have going right now, albums, projects, friends in my life that were gone for so long that you realize were out of your life because of somebody else. Fear held me from moving forward, and now I'm moving forward. And another thing that I've never really dealt with before was anxiety. And anxiety is the noise between your thoughts. It's your heart pounding in a quiet room. And everybody that knows me knows that when my heart pounds, you can hear it on the other side of the wall, right? Because it starts clicking. If you listen to the intro on this podcast, you hear my heart clicking underneath here. That click,
click, click. That's my heart. Had a artificial valve put in about 20 years ago. Actually, it was about 15. But anxiety is the sweat you feel when nothing's chasing you. Think about that. And I've had that shit this year. Hard. At a level that I never expected, that I didn't even understand. But you know what? I didn't freeze. I moved. I trained through it, because standing still, that ain't survival. Someone said to me last week, if you had cancer, you would study that shit. You would find out the best way to heal from it. You would know your options inside and out. But people with anxiety, they just let it label them, and then they run away from it. Oh, I have anxiety. I can't do that. Oh, my anxiety's bad today. I'm just going to sit at home. Oh, my anxiety's bad today. Please understand me and don't fight with me. Oh, my anxiety's bad. I understand that. I dealt with it this year. I'm still dealing with anxiety. But you know what I do? I find out how you're supposed to deal with anxiety. And how do I do that? I do that with one of the 5 S's. I do that with several of the 5 S's. First, I'm sober. That's the biggest thing to help with your anxiety, even though at first it causes more anxiety. As you learn to deal with being sober, you learn to deal with your anxiety. Secondly, I go to church, I pray. Praying to take away my anxieties, right? Even if you don't believe in God, but you're talking to yourself, or you're talking to the universe, or you're talking to karma, and you're saying, hey, I got to get rid of this stuff out of my head. It makes you feel better. And then I also use the strength, right? That's what we're talking about today. I get in here and I pump some iron. I go sit on that bike and I ride that bike. And it helps me get rid of the anxiety. And then self-care, of course, does it. Because you're meditating. It calms you. Try box breathing sometime. 4 beats in, 4 beats hold, 4 beats out, 4 beats hold. Do it again. Do it 3 times. Your anxiety level will come down. It's a proven fact. And I didn't believe that shit at first. Now I do. I do it all the time. I'll do it in the car when I'm driving and I start freaking out about something. There's certain areas where I'll drive by something and it triggers me. On my way to work, on my way home from work, it triggers me. I box breathe. As I know I'm getting up to that point, I start doing some box breathing. It helps. And then, of course, songwriting. The 5 S's were built for anxiety. Songwriting, you talk about the shit that's bothering you. You talk about the stuff that is getting in your head. You talk about the people that are in your head, the feelings that are in your head. And anxiety is one of those feelings that can cripple you. I know that. I've dealt with people that have anxiety. I was with a person who had anxiety terribly. And I wish that I had known this before. I wish I had known how it feels. And I wish I had known how to help deal with it. So if you have anxiety, don't just say, oh, I have anxiety. I have anxiety. Please understand. Find out how to help your anxiety, how to help yourself fix your anxiety. You can't fix it, but you can help cope with it. And you can help keep it down levels. Trust me. And then depression, it doesn't always show up loud. Sometimes it's just nothing. It's just stillness. Waking up and feeling like, why bother? But I did bother. I picked up the weight, not for muscle, but to prove I was still alive. I've never had depression before, and I know that people have depression, and it is a legitimate problem. But again, study it. Learn how you can help control when it hits you. It's going to hit you. It's not something that just one day is gone. You don't just cure depression. You learn to deal with it and to cope with it through coping skills. And I'm going to do an episode on coping skills soon. Madison at my rehab and at my aftercare has awesome coping skill lessons. She's taught me a whole bunch about it. And it's been really good. And those have helped me tremendously. Just breathing has helped me tremendously. I do the tapping every now and then where you tap different parts on your body that are scientifically proven to help you calm down just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a ton, right? It just has to help a little bit so that you can move. Like I always talk about moving. You can move to that next spot in your life, that next moment, that next breath. You can move forward. And that's all that these coping skills will do. They just help you be able to move. And the next thing you know, you've taken a bunch of steps across the floor, right? Anybody ever watch Bill Murray in What About Bob? Baby steps across the floor. And that's the truth. You take a couple baby steps. You learn a couple things. You move a couple ways. You lift a couple weights. Like I told MB in the last episode I mentioned to you. You don't have to start off by coming in and doing a full hour workout. Start with 5 push-ups. Start with 1 push-up. Start with chair yoga. I told a friend of mine, Jen, the other day to start doing chair yoga. Has some problems with her back, can't do a lot of lifting. I said, hey, try chair yoga. It doesn't add any stress to your back. There's little things you can do, little baby steps. And if you ever watch that movie, What About Bob? You know what I'm talking about. Richard Dreyfuss. But sometimes you just have to do that to prove to yourself that you're still alive, to prove to yourself that you're moving on, right? Guilt has also been something that's weighing on me this year. Not guilt for what happened that night, although there's a lot of that. Not guilt for what I did last year, although there's a lot of that. Just guilt that I let myself get to this point. It's the weight of your past sitting on your present. It can be crushing. It might not be as strong as depression or as strong as anxiety or as strong as fear, but it can weigh on you just as much, and it can affect those feelings, those insecurities, those mental problems that we're all dealing with. Guilt can make those more intense. And guilt ain't just a feeling. Sometimes it's a fucking backpack full of bricks. Every mistake, every time I wasn't who I said I'd be, it weighs on you like a rucksack, which is something I want to do. If there's anybody out there that wants to go rucking, let me know. I'm really thinking about doing it in the next couple weeks. I want to start doing that. I know Thomas will be watching this and he'll want to do it. So let's go rucking. You, me, and Jeff Beck. What do you say? Anyhow, every mistake that I have, I carry in that guilt pack. Every time I wasn't who I said I'd be, every woman that I have ever disappointed, and that is every woman in my life I have disappointed, I have let down. I take a brick and I put it in that backpack, that rucksack, that guilt sack, and I carry it with me. And I never thought about it until this moment. Right now, I didn't realize until right now talking about this that that's what happened. Every time I let my mom down, I let one of my sisters down, I let my nieces down, I let my daughter down, I let my wives down, I let my girlfriends down, people who I cared about and still care about and still love. I let them down. I took a brick and I put it in my rucksack. I put it in my guilt sack. And I never thought about it until right now that is something that has affected everything else. Oh, let's put a brick in here. Let's have a drink. Oh, let's put another brick in here. Let's go do a line. Oh, I put a brick in here. Okay, this relationship's over. I'll just adjust it a little bit and let's move on to the next one. Well, I'm tired of fucking doing that. Okay? I'm tired of it. I didn't realize it until right now. And now I have something I have to work on. And I'm going to work on it. I know that it has not always been just me, but it's been me leading the force, leading the charge. And I'm going to get rid of this fucking guilt sack because I carry it. And every time I think about what I lost, it gets heavier. Now I'm lifting it, but it's not going away. I need to set it down and I need to move on from it. And the next topic is the only way that you can do that, I guess. I can't believe I didn't think about this until right now. Gratitude doesn't have to be pretty. Sometimes it's just, thank you for letting me survive today. I don't have what I lost. And maybe I never will. But I've got fire. And I've got truth. And it doesn't feel like it right now. But I've got today. And I've got room to swing. And to clear room for me. And this fucking guilt pack apparently I'm carrying. I'm grateful for my daughter. And I'm grateful for my son. I just learned a lot right now. I'll try and finish this up. I train for clarity. I train for peace. I train for war. This ain't about gains. It's about grit. It's about showing up and learning something new about yourself, apparently, when you don't expect it. Strength isn't what you flex. Strength is what you carry, and I'm carrying it all, and I'm carrying it right in this guilt pack. This is how I found the 5S's, just by accident. I'm carrying everything in this backpack, and I didn't realize it until right now. The guilt from my car wreck 30 years ago, 40 years ago. The guilt from failed marriages. The guilt from loving my wife so much and not realizing what she was dealing with. I know it wasn't all my fault, but the guilt of not doing what I could have. And now that I've learned what I could have, that's something that I've talked about in therapy and in rehab and in aftercare a lot. I'm carrying all this, and I was going to say no shame, no hiding, and no waiting for permission. But I have all of that. I have all of it.
From all of my dread, I'm so numb and I can't stop crying.
When people think about strength, most people think muscles, loudness, dominance. But some of the strongest people I know built their strength in silence. One of them, Corey Taylor. Yeah, the Slipknot guy. The scream until your soul rattles, mask wearing, chaos bringing frontman. But that's not what hit me. What hit me was this. At 18 years old, Corey tried to take his own life. He was broke, addicted, depressed, homeless. He felt like nobody. So he swallowed a bottle of pills. Alone, ready to be done. He woke up in a hospital bed. But the moment that saved him, it wasn't therapy. It wasn't some grand breakthrough. It was a friend. Someone who didn't coddle him. Someone who didn't offer him pity. Someone who didn't hand him a soft landing. Just said, you're going to die or you're going to do something about your life. You choose. And that moment, that was the spark. That was the fire before the roar. And Corey chose to live. He moved in with his grandmother. He got clean. He started writing. He started screaming his pain instead of swallowing it. He took every ounce of hell he'd lived through, the abuse, the addiction, the rejection, and he turned it into a war cry. Not for pity and not for power. That's what strength is. It's not showing off your scars, but building with them. And that's kind of why I relate. Not because I played arenas like him, but because I know what it's like to wake up thinking this might be the end and choosing to rise anyhow. Corey's not strong because he's famous. He's strong because he lived through silence and he showed up loud. So if you're listening to this right now, and you're still breathing, you're still swinging, you're still carrying the weight of it all, then you're building strength. And one day, maybe your scream will save somebody too.
I'm the voice you hear in your rock and roll dreams. I can chill you feel with the guitar.
Sometimes in the storm, you get a little light. I want to read a journal entry from one of those moments. A day where something changed, something shifted. Not everything got fixed, not all the weight lifted off of me, but I felt a little hope. And sometimes that's just enough to keep you going. Now, this journal entry is from January 25th, which is the day I met my lawyer. God sent me a blessing today, and his name is Noah. He made me feel relaxed. He made me feel safe immediately. His fee is affordable, and he listened to the whole story, and he thinks he can help. He said the guns should not be a thing, that I was right, and my original felony was not a violent crime. He said, based on what I told him, it's self-defense. He wants the evidence that I have, and he thinks the worst thing might be probation. I'm so relieved. I came home and prayed to God for sending him into my life. What a relief. Okay, so that's from the journal entry. And now this is just kind of what I thought about this. You know, it reminds me of how close I was to breaking that week, that month especially. I've been drowning in fear, in doubt, thinking maybe I was crazy for holding on to the truth. But hearing someone finally say, I believe you, and we're going to fight this. And this person didn't know me, didn't know anything about the case. And that was strength. Not the kind you build in the gym, but the kind that comes from knowing you're not alone anymore. And yeah, I still don't know how all this is going to turn out. Nobody does. But on that day, I got my footing back. And I've been walking forward ever since. You just heard the truth. It's not polished. It's not pitiful. It's just real. And yeah, I got arrested for a 1-second phone call. Leave it to me. And yeah, man, that broke me. Changed my mindset that somebody could do that. Somebody that I cared about could do that to me. But this episode was not about them. This is about me. This is me taking my strength back. This is me choosing truth over silence, peace over panic, presence over pretending, movement over sadness. So if you're still breathing, you're still swinging, even if you're struggling, as long as you're trying, you're already winning. Strength isn't what we flex. It's about what we carry. It's the burden we bear. And personally, I'm carrying all of it without shame, without hiding, and without waiting for permission. I want to thank you for walking through another chapter of this journey with me. I want you to stay sharp, stay strong, and always stay loud. Because remember, I didn't come back to be quiet. I came back to be louder than my demons.
'Cause I'm a straight edge superstar. I don't win a crown. I'm a straight edge superstar. I don't devil you blame. I'm a straight edge superstar. I'm never backing down. I'm a straight edge superstar. If I don't go insane, I'm coming for the crown.